Welcome guys to another video on labor economics. In the last couple of videos, we have talked about the concept of labor demand in details, and we told that when the wage rate increased, the demand for labor would decrease. But we didn't talk how much. So the topic of today's videos is to talk about the sensitivity of employment and to change in wage level, which is exactly the elasticity of labor demand. So what is the elasticity of labor demand? Elasticity of labor demand measures the sensitivity or the responsiveness of employment to a change in wage rate. More specifically, if the wage rate increase or decrease, means if the wage rate change, what will happen to the employment level? Or when the wage rate change by 1%, by how much or by what percentage employment level would change? So this is the concepts of elasticity of labor demand. In terms of formula, if we say the elasticity of labor demand or the wage elasticity of labor demand by eta, the Greek letter eta, eta II, or means here we talk about the own wage elasticity. It means the wage elasticity of a particular labor, a specific kind of labor. And equal to the change, the percentage change in employment level of that specific kind of labor over to the percentage change of wage rate and that specific kind of labor. So when the eta is greater than 1, so the labor demand is elastic. And when the eta is equal to 1, the labor demand is unit elastic. But if the eta is less than 1, then the labor demand is inelastic. What does it mean? It means when, for example, when the wage rate increase by 10%, but the employment level decrease by, for example, 15%. So 15% over 10% will be 1.5%, 1.5. So it means it's greater than 1, it's elastic. But when the wage rate change by 10%, unemployment level will decline by 10%, 10 by 10 will be equal to 1. It's called unit elastic. And when the wage rate change by 10%, but the employment level decline, for example, by 8%. So 8 by 10 will be equal to 0.8. So it's inelastic. So if we show graphically the elastic labor demand and elastic labor demand, so this graph shows the elastic labor demand. Elastic labor demand. You see that when the wage level increased by a small portion from W0 to W1, the employment level would decline from E0 to E1 with a large portion. A small portion increase in wage rate leads to a large portion decrease in employment level, which exactly shows this labor demand curve is elastic. As much labor demand curve is flat, so the elasticity of labor demand will be higher. But in this case, when the wage level increased by a very large portion, it moves from W0 to W1. But the employment level declined by a small portion from E0 to E1. It means this labor demand curve is inelastic. The change in wage rate does not lead to a higher change in employment level. But another question, the main question is that why? What makes a labor demand elastic and what makes a labor demand inelastic. So it depends on four main factors, which is called Hicks-Marshall law of derived demand, which is like improved or developed by the John Hicks and Arthur Marshall, two very famous economists. This says that the elasticity of labor demand depends on four main factors. The first one, the price elasticity of demand for the final output, that you are using labor to produce that output. If the price elasticity of demand for the final output is high, that means when you increase the price of your final output, the demand for the final output would decline too much. It means here, nu or the own wage price elasticity would be also higher. Why? Because if you cannot increase your output price level, then what you would do when the wage level increase, you will hire less labor, or maybe the employment level would decline. The second thing, the substitutability of other production factors for labor. When it's easy to substitute capital for labor with very low costs, when the wage level increase, what the employers or firms will do, they easily substitute capital for workers. Instead of more workers, they will use more labor, more capital. So in this case, what will happen? The employment level will decline. But when it's difficult to substitute capital for labor, so the wage elasticity of labor demand would be lower. The third factor is the share of labor cost in overall total cost. When the share of labor cost is high in the overall total cost, so it means when the wage level here increase, it means overall the total cost will increase by a high portion. It means in order to decrease your total cost, what employers will do, they reduce the level of employees or workers. But when the share of labor cost in the total cost is too small, so the employers will not be too much sensitive in changing wages because it's too low. So they will not respond very highly, strongly. But when the share of labor cost is high, so it means when just a small increase in the cost of labor would decrease the total cost too much. So what will happen? So in this case, the employment level would decline. The fourth factor is the supply elasticity of other factors. For example, when the wage level increase, if the employers want to substitute other factors for labor, but when here the supply of other factors in terms of their price is high, then, for example, when the elasticity of supply of capital is high, when the demand for capital increase, so then the price of capital will increase. And here, when the supply of capital is highly elastic, so this capital producer or supplier will supply more capital. In this case, it's easy to substitute capital for labor. But when the producer or those agents that they supply capital in the market, if they are producing their capital in the highly capacity of their firms, so here, when the demand for capital increase, so they cannot respond that. When they cannot respond that, so you cannot substitute capital for labor. In this case, the elasticity of labor demand will be low. But if they can respond easily to the change in the price of capital, they supply more, so it's easy to substitute. So there are the four main factors that can make labor demand elastic or either inelastic. So this is the end for this video. In order to solve a practical example of labor demand, watch my next video as well. So if you want to follow up with my videos and you want to learn about economics, labor economics, and other subfield of economics, so please subscribe my YouTube channel and also like videos. When you like videos, it will show to other people who are interested to these videos as well. And if you have any specific questions, write down in the comment section below. See you in the next video.